I can't believe that it's been 20 years since this all began.
Me neither. Do you remember when it started?
Yeah. You guys found that warehouse in Northwest Portland, and I remember looking at it and I was like, okay, it's a huge empty space.
I remember Ryan Aslett being like, this is never going to be a spa. I was like, thanks for really believing in me, Ryan.
Yeah. And I had my acupuncture practice and I was like, I'm on board with helping, but I have my own thing still. So if this bombs, I still have thanks. I don't really think I thought that. I was just like, this is your thing because, wow, you have drive and ambition like no one I've ever met before.
Yeah, but you were so helpful. I couldn't have done it without you.
It's true. I definitely did my part, like bashing. We brought in a sledgehammer or like smashing the old, I don't know what, there were just like a bunch of old structures that were in place we didn't need. And then starting to do like, obviously we had contractors, but we did so much of it ourselves.
Remember making all those carts?
Did we make those carts?
We made all those carts. It was like my first real carpentry experience.
Right.
I feel like we did a pretty good job. I think that they're still in use currently.
Wow. I wonder if they are.
They are. I know they are.
Well, an interesting story that you all out there in TV land may not know is that Briana and I were working at another spa where we met before starting the Dragontree. And we were flirty. She was a massage therapist. I was an acupuncturist doing acupuncture and massage there. And one day I decided it would be a whimsical thing to do while she was sitting on one of these rolly carts that they used for foot baths to grab her legs and spin her around.
They were not very sturdy carts.
They weren't very sturdy carts.
Unlike the ones I made.
Unlike the Dragontree carts, which you can rest assured are always going to hold up to whatever you may do.
But those are not.
So the cart fell and Briana landed hard on a cement floor on her sacrum and screamed while there were clients getting focused. I'm not blaming.
You're saying is that I screamed when the fact is you broke my tailbone.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Only historians will know what truly happened. But the main thing was that led to, many hours of massage and getting to know each other better, and Briana deciding to start her own spa, and then us building carts that were way sturdier than the ones that she fell off of.
Will not tip over when swinging around.
Yep.
But, okay, what is your most fond memory from these last 20 years?
I mean, I have a lot of fond memories. I would still say, though, that it's sometime at the beginning, probably the first time we kind of stepped back and everything was, the rooms were built out and the walls were painted and we had learned how to faux finish walls ourselves.
When faux finishing was cool.
Yeah, when that was cool.
That's how long ago we started.
And just being like, wow, I can't believe. Actually, it was maybe even, a few months later when it was like full of clients and there was like a little bit of a bustle to the place, and it was like, I can't believe that we created this.
Yeah.
And there were many more proud moments further along, but I still think like that's the most like vivid emotional memory. Yeah. Mm-hmm. How about you?
It's interesting how attached I am to the phone ringing. Like the phone ringing in the spas is still like anytime I'm there, I'm like, oh, people are calling. They want to book with us. Like that feeling. I just remember when that started to really happen all the time, where like the front desk people were like, there needs to be another person because they're ringing so much. And I was like, yes. And just that experience of like, oh, people know about us and they're calling us, because when we first started, it felt like, it was just our clients that we had already had from our private practices. And so it wasn't really like new people calling. And as soon as it was new people calling, I actually really remember our first client that ever called and booked her appointment, and I remember massaging her feet, and I remember like what was wrong with her foot. She had like been stung by a stingray, and it had healed, so she had a scar tissue there, and I remember massaging it out, and she's still a client at the spot, and I just remember that experience being like, you came here and you're new and you didn't even know us. And yeah, anyways, her name is Mara. She'll probably be watching this, and I just will always remember her. I'm so grateful for her because I was the first indication that people were going to come to our business. It's very exciting.
Yeah. I would say there was like a few years later when City Search was still a thing. It was like the first online ratings thing that people got interested in. Like but then we won best spa.
Oh yeah, that was nice.
City Search.
Okay, I don't hate that so much.
I think like a couple times.
Yeah.
Before they kind of got replaced by something else.
Yeah.
Yahoo,
all the other things.
Yeah.
Did you say Yahoo?
What is the other one?
Yelp.
Right.
I was like, I think Yahoo would before City Search.
Yeah, right. So what would you say was the most challenging or worst, most difficult moment or period in the 20-year life of this thing?
It's really hard to come to one because there are a few that really come to mind. Well, I would say that when we first opened, most people probably think that Peter and I were just business partners when we started, but we were just boyfriend, girlfriend, and I convinced Peter to move his acupuncture practice into the spa, but I actually opened the Dragontree with a business partner, and it was really hard. I just remember by the time the doors were open that we weren't even talking, and she... it was a very challenging relationship for me, and we were doing all of our coaching training and integrity training and communication.
You and I were.
Yeah, you and I were.
But she wasn't.
But she was not. And the split in that and the inability to get her to want to have a shared way of communicating and treating each other. I remember massaging Henry. You know Henry. I remember massaging Henry and him being like, are you upset about something today? This is a very aggressive massage. And I was like, I am so sorry. I don't think I charged him for that massage. But just I just remember feeling so frustrated with the inability to get on the same page.
She really brought important financing to the beginning of it.
Yeah.
That was integral in starting it,
100%.
But really had very low hopes or ambition in terms of what it could be, and pretty much I think that was about it. And so you luckily were able to buy her out pretty soon after it opened.
Yeah. Luckily, there was a resolution to that challenging time, as probably everyone figured since she's not here.
Yeah.
But it was pretty soon afterwards. But that was really hard. But then later, there was other hard things.
There were many
other hard things. many. But I know that you've also experienced challenging times in the spa. What do you feel like was the most challenging? Or actually, the Dragontree in general, that actually makes it even harder because there are other, with the pain patches and you choose.
Yes. It's not hard to pick. We decided to open the spa in Boulder, and we were very far into the project. In fact, the whole place was pretty much built out, and all along however long that took, 7 or 8 months or something, the bank kept saying, we've almost got your money for you. We've almost got your money for you. We almost got your money for the loan. Yes. But meanwhile, we were paying rent on an empty, non-income earning space
and
on Pearl Street in Boulder, which is very expensive. Yes, and so we decided we needed to start the building process. And then the bank was like, wait, what? You started spending your money? Where's the money you said you have? And we said, we have been giving it to the contractors, and now we're out of money. Yes, and we had to pay rent on that space. Uh-huh. And after... I think 8 months, the bank said, and making harder and harder conditions for us to meet, they said, we're not interested.
That was the worst.
Yeah. We had contractors calling us up and screaming at us on the phone because they need to pay their people. It's understandable.
Yeah, they were mad.
But we got through it.
Thank God for Flatirons Bank out there in Boulder. Local bank, awesome.
They took a chance on local business.
They're amazing.
I had an uncle too who believed in us, and he played a role. And then this local bank was like, "Okay, we believe in what you're doing."
Thank goodness.
Yeah,
that was stressful.
So I know that when we met and we were working at that other spa, you decided at the ripe young age of 22 that you're going to open your own spa, and knowing you probably had some very grand ideas of what it would be. And also, I'm guessing that things have turned out differently than you expected. So what is the most surprising thing, or what has been specifically different than you would have thought?
Well, I know you think I had grand plans, but mostly I just wanted to not be belly dancing at night to earn money. That was like the big grand plan at the beginning, right? It's like, I just want this to eventually support the community and support us. That was it. Really, it's interesting because I feel like a lot of people are like, "Oh, how did you have a vision this big?" I'm like, I definitely did not have a vision this big. I just wanted the Portland spa to be full. That was like that would have been like the grandest thing I could have even imagined at 22. And in a lot of ways, I think that was good because everything kind of happened organically. The opening of the cafe and the closing or the selling of the cafe, the opening of the airport spa, the expansion of our apothecary, the books and the programs. It all feels like it wasn't like I had this like calculated master plan. It just was in response so much to what people wanted. And so I really feel like the fact that we have multiple locations, and especially the fact that we have different branches of the Dragontree that serve people in different ways, that we have programs, that we've written books, like that is probably the most surprising thing to me, actually. If you had asked me at 22 if I was going to write a book, I would have said, no, I have no idea why I would write a book. So the fact that we've written, really 3 books together is really surprising to me. And that we have all of these things that are in, like, especially the dream book, thinking about how and Rituals for Transformation too, I guess really all of our books, that they're in people's homes all across the world, and that we are able to support and touch people's lives that aren't local. I think that is the most surprising to me. What's the most surprising to you? That you stayed there? I'm just kidding. I don't want to put words in your mouth. What is really the most surprising, though? I
was going to say the same thing. Many of the same things. Yeah, I would say, at first, you invited me to move my practice in there, and I felt like I had these aspirations of being like a serious medical professional and treating people with real medical problems. And I just thought, if I move my practice into a spa, then I'm just going to be treating. I think I must have had some disdain for the idea of a spa. Not really disdain, but just like, it's for people who want to relax and get pampered, but not for like real healing. And so one of the surprising things is that my thinking on that idea totally changed. It was like, are you kidding me? We are so missing the point in the mainstream medical establishment by neglecting to address so many aspects of the whole person and neglecting to use all sorts of things that can be done to the environment, like scent and color and sound and so on. I started to feel that not only is going to a place where the sort of like the first priority is to just get people to relax is actually an incredibly important and therapeutic thing. And then to go from there, I realized that people were coming to me for all the things that they came to me for before.
Shocking.
It wasn't any different.
No.
And it was just that I was getting to practice in a beautiful setting rather than where I had been in a very drab medical building.
Yeah, with your hot wife.
With my hot wife. And all of my patients, of course, felt the same way. They were like, oh, I love coming here instead of there. That really changed a lot of my ideas around what a healing environment is. And meanwhile, I was studying 5-element philosophy, and the colors and sounds were working inside me in terms of like how they evoke the feelings and flavors and colors and so on of the natural world, which again tend to be devoid in a lot of institutional environments, which is where so much of our medicine is practiced. So it really just sort of stoked my interest and belief in all of that. And I'd say, yeah, that it just sort of propelled me even further in the direction I was headed.
We've created so many things, from products that are go on your body, go in your body, that you use. What is your favorite product that we've created?
So even though I formulated the Muscle Melt line and the Peace Tea, which I really love, I actually would say that my favorite product is our book, Rituals for Transformation, which I just feel more proud of that than anything else we've done. I just feel like we were really tuned in when we wrote it, and that every word was chosen so carefully. And even when I go back to it now, 7 years later, I'm like, wow, I need to sit down and reread this book over and over. I just felt like it was just something that was kind of coming through us. And I've heard so many stories from people who have used it, people who had no idea even were aware of it, like our neighbor.
I know, that was saying, surprising.
Yeah, I have this book of yours and it's made such a huge difference in my life. And I'm like honored and delighted. I hope that it is a book that just lives on, even beyond us, because I feel like it's proven that it has real value for people.
Yeah.
How about you? What's our favorite product for you?
That's not how people talk.
What's our favorite? What is your favorite product of ours? What's our product that is your favorite?
I like all these iterations of this.
Which of our many products is your favorite?
Well, you kind of feel like you stole my answer, but it's okay. We can share an answer. I was going to say, for me, it's strangely between the Transcend lotion, which I just love and use every day. It is my favorite smell and it makes my skin feel so good. So I really, really love that. But the thing I'm most proud of too, I think, is Rituals for Transformation, because I think it has the most significant impact for people's lives. I mean, I think actually the Dream Book has a really significant impact in people's lives too. The two together, I mean, it's amazing.
Well, if I could add one more, I would say in terms of feedback, in terms of like mind-blowing, life-changing feedback, I would say the coaching program.
Oh, I forgot about that as a product. Yeah, you're right. That's amazing. Yeah,
I wasn't really thinking in terms of that as a product either, but a creation and a service, an educational product that we sell. Yeah, and the people that we've been put into contact with, the people we've had the pleasure of knowing through that program.
Getting to do the Illuminator program with people.
Yeah,
that's really fun.
Yeah.
And then we get to do it together. That's also really fun.
Agreed.
Okay. Maybe that's my favorite. I don't need to number them because I love them all, but those are good ones.
So I know you're a person who's always keen to discover the lessons in hardship. And I'm wondering what you feel the biggest lesson is that you've gotten out of the 20 years of being the owner of the Dragontree.
I feel like the biggest lesson for me in entrepreneurship and managing people and managing challenges, all of them that come, is learning to allow them to deepen my introspection and like personal development, and allowing them to be a spiritual practice for me, rather than separating it out as like this thing that I do that's like my work thing, and then having life, and then having my spiritual life, that it really gets to all come together. And that when there are challenges that rub against me that I get to grow in those circumstances, and that I get to allow that to be almost like the catalyst for my growth. And so rather than avoiding challenges, to welcome them and say, this is for me, and I'm going to allow it to grow me and change me and evolve me as a human, so that I can be better at leading our staff and better at leading my clients and more supportive and have more perspective. It feels like it's been really the most intense and grand spiritual experience possible, really.
Yeah.
What about for you?
I would say something very similar to that. Yeah. It's like we've both discovered, as have so many other people, that being in a relationship works you like nothing else. Being in a committed relationship specifically, if you're like, I won't entertain the idea of exiting, I simply need to work this out, then a relationship will catalyze your growth and development. And I feel like we've really been in a relationship with this business, which business is maybe like too small of a word for it. We've been in a relationship with this grand work, and which we have, recognized over and over and over is in total alignment with our life purpose, what we're here for, the service we're here to do. And so that staying committed part, where it's like, there really isn't an alternative anyway. We're so deep into it. So when I remember that, and it's like, I'm in a relationship here, and we've got to get this worked out, you and me, Dragontree, then it becomes something that really isn't about the Dragontree at all. I hope that the Dragontree continues on and flourishes, and that someday we're doing this and it's like the 50th anniversary. And also, I feel like you do that there have been so many points at which it's like, I need to make a choice to affirm that this is my work and this is what I'm going to do, regardless of the form it takes. And if this all falls away because of COVID or something else that comes along, the work will continue on in some form. And I believe people will continue to show up for us. People will find us who are a good match for what we can provide.
What keeps you motivated in this work?
What keeps me motivated is the utter gift I discovered. Now, how long ago was it? Close to 30-ish years ago, that there is a force in me that seeks to awaken through me, wake me up to everything that I am. And some people would say to live to your potential, but for me it's sort of outside of the realm of whatever my ego thinks my potential is. It's this personal work of watching how I conduct myself and who I choose to be and all of that, and continually evaluating and expanding into that. And because that's there, the the career work is just an extension of that. And it, of course, brings me a million opportunities to do my personal work. And I encourage people all the time to try to find a way to see their career work as an extension of their personal work. And in that way, the better person you become, the better you're able to serve your clients, whoever they are, and whatever, you could be a garbage collector, and You could be a garbage collector who makes everybody's day. You could be a garbage collector who recognizes like what an incredible service it is to just take away people's waste and let them be free. And for me, it happens to be not garbage collection, but something no more important, I would say. And because those things are aligned, I feel like there will never be a lack of motivation. Mm-hmm. How about you? What keeps you going?
Keeps me going. I would say that it really probably comes down to wanting to create. Like there's that inner experience of I want to have the universe move through me into creation kind of all the time. I really love creating and being in service. That feeling of how am I contributing to the world doesn't feel to me exhausting at all or depleting. It feels energizing and very much that I'm living at in the emergent field of existence. Here we all are. We're doing this thing, and I'm just letting this come through me into the world. And it feels, I don't even know if motivating is the right word. It just feels energizing, like endlessly energizing to me to be contributing to this, to the community, to the world, to this weaving of the universe through this human. And that's, I guess, what you would call motivation.
Yeah. Well, I know that you and I have often talked about how we don't get it when our kids are like, I'm bored.
Yeah, bored. What a weird concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about our people, our patients, clients, community, those humans that have made this possible. Sometimes I think about Taylor Swift when I think of this and how much she loves her fans. She's just like, I couldn't be here without you. I'm like, you're really obsessed with your fans. It's so sweet.
And you are really obsessed with Taylor Swift.
I just think she's really cool. But really, when it comes down to it, I think that our clients and our community are, I mean, honest, there would be nothing, right? I think about back to like the conversation about Maura, like the first person in everyone's sense has felt like it's such a big deal. I think about the first person who bought our dream book on our Kickstarter. I mean, I remember that moment. It's like somebody did a thing. They bought a thing that we created. I mean, and like every time somebody buys anything, I feel so, it isn't just like, thank you for your money, but like you've joined in a vision for your life and therefore for the world. Even if it's kind of like a different way that they think that they're like, I just think I'm getting a massage. I'm like, no, you're buying into this mission. And maybe they're not entirely meaning to, but it feels so connective to me.
Yeah.
What do you think about it? I don't want to ask that like that. You know, I'm just going to let you talk instead of asking you something.
I don't know if people's gratitude for like one thing in their lives tends to like wear out over time. They say sometimes like, what would your life be like if you lived in San Diego all the time? You probably would just take it for granted after a while. And my sense of gratitude toward our clientele is something that just never decreases. If anything, it just grows. It's like, it's just so moving. And I hit my microphone. It's so moving and just to see not just, to see the impact of our work in the ways that people take it and then go even further with it and go off to do whatever they're going to do with whatever they were born here to do is just like so gratifying. And over 20 years, I'm guessing there's been something on the order of, I don't know, 100,000 people who've patronized our business in some way. Hundreds of thousands of people. And that's
amazing.
Staggering. Yeah. And maybe, if you're somebody like Jeff Bezos, you don't feel so personal about
Maybe he does.
Maybe he's just like constantly
every time
tearing
you press
up.
buy on your Amazon order, he's like, yes. I don't know.
But I really do feel like a sense of, like, a personal sense of gratitude toward, like, my perception of all of the people who have trusted us to try our products and services, and really, the products and services are just like an expression of what I mean to be like our mission. Yeah, that I know many people are on the same page with us, that they want peace, and not just like as a temporary thing, but a different way of being, and that
they invest themselves in it. They do the books, and they take the courses, and they take time for themselves and get massages, and that they're really deciding to prioritize this way of being.
There are times that I feel like we've had clients who commit themselves to it in a way that's like more than I've committed myself to it, and I'm like, I am inspired. I can't believe how much you have transformed your entire life through this
dream book. It's really impressive.
I had this one client who had a whole bunch of health problems, and I remember giving her a bunch of different medical interventions to try, but then I must have uttered like some sort of philosophical advice, and I can't even remember what it was. It was something like, at a certain point, because so much of what was undermining her health had to do with family drama. And I think I said something like, at some point you just have to choose, like, to be committed to your health or not. And I remember that, like, so many healthcare practitioners have this experience of seeing someone and then you don't see them again for months, and you wonder, like, what happened? Did they hate me? Did they die afterwards? And then maybe like 6 months later, she came back and she was like, well, because of what you said, everything in my life is wonderful right now. And I was like, what did I say again? And she was like, you just said you have to choose. And I did. And, I no longer eat that garbage I used to eat. I don't hem and haw about exercise. I just do it every day. I don't, mess around with like the drama. I just say, I don't care for that. And it was like every single thing. She was like, I'm not going to be sloppy about any of it. I am completely 100%, wholeheartedly in on all of it. And I was like, you're my idol.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I feel that there are so many clients like that. Even especially when we ask people about their experience with the Dream Book, and we hear back from them like what they've done with it, like completely getting out of debt, getting their PhD, starting businesses, like cleaning up family relationships, just so many things. And I'm just so impressed. I'm so impressed with the humans. They're just so impressive. I'm so grateful. So grateful. Thank you so much. Oh, my voice just cracked. Thank you so much for being part of our community. It means so much to us.
We're so grateful for you. Thanks for watching.